Well, have you ever thought about writing a book? If so, you may want to mark your calendar for the Power of the Pen, being hosted by the Chattanooga Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm joined by two of the sorority members and authors who will be featured, Cicely Mitchell and Dr. Mary Rowland. Thank you, ladies, both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start by talking about your book, first of all. And Dr. Rowland, we'll start with you.
Okay. The name of my book is Rolling with the Punches, Getting Up After Life Knocks You Down. And
then tell us about that book, how that came about, and what brought you to write that book.
Latrice, I was talking on the phone with my son one day, and we were just talking about family and just different things. And he kept saying, amidst the conversation, that he was talking about the job I had at UT Knoxville. And then he mentioned the first job I had at UTC. And I realized, oh my gosh, he doesn't really know all my career path. So I just decided that I would document, and I was going to leave it for him as my life story. And when I wrote it all up and gave it to him, he said, Mom, publish it.
Publish it.
And that's how it came about.
All right. So, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of times, sometimes how we're just like, you know, let me tell this story. And it's like, okay, this is something that maybe should be shared with others and should be published. And as we go through this interview, we're going to put up some pictures of you all's books. Cicely, let me move to you and tell me about your book.
Okay, the title of my book is The Travel Champion, a 4-step guide to traveling the world solo, safely, and on a budget. So at this particular point, I've been to all 50 states, all 7 continents, and about 45 countries.
Thank you. Go.
And most of that I did as a solo female traveler. So this book is designed to walk people step by step how I did it and how they too can do it.
And do you think that, I think, is a lot, you're hearing a lot more about that now, actually, because that was for something for so long, people are like, no, I'm not going to travel. I don't have anyone to go with, so I'm not going. And now you hear people are saying, okay, you hear women saying, let's take this trip. Let's do solo. Like, I know, like, my news director all the time, you know, she'll take solo trips. And so, but the thing about it also, they're saying for women, you know, there's some safety measures you should take as well when
Absolutely.
you take those trips by yourself.
Absolutely. So I go through a lot of the do's and don'ts of safety, and it's not just specifically for those traveling solo, but anyone traveling. But of course, you can get a lot of information about, you know, traveling solo because you're by yourself. You want to make sure you take the necessary precautions.
So what made you want to start, before you even start writing the book, like you were just like, I'm just going to try, because I hear a lot of people say that, I'm going to do that and do all 50 states. And so what made you say, I want to make sure I travel to all 50 states?
So it actually just started out where I was moving from, when I graduated from undergrad, Tennessee State University.
Okay, TSU.
TSU, go Tigers. So my first job out of college was in Massachusetts, just north of Boston. And I'd never been in New England before I even interviewed for the job. So I figured, you know, there's a lot of states up here that I've never visited. So while I'm in this area, I want to make sure I hit all the New England states. So then once I hit all the New England states, I said I might as well do the mid-Atlantic states. And then I said, well, let me do New York and New Jersey and, you know, a few other states. And then I said, why don't I just go to all 50 states? So that's really how it came about.
Well, tell us about it. Before we run out of time, let's talk about, if you all, a piece of advice you have, Dr. Rowland, for someone who's thinking about, you know, I'm thinking about writing a book.
I would say to anybody, read, read, read. Read and see what type of literature is out there, what you're interested in, those particular authors. And then secondly, I tell people to just start documenting and writing what you're passionate about. And then third, I would refer them to a publishing coach, which is what I did. And they help you pull it together.
And I was going to say, as someone who's written, but that is so important, you're right, having that publishing coach with you and working with you. Cicely, your piece of advice.
I would just say, think about all the people that you can potentially help, especially if it's like a nonfiction book or a self-help book. a lot of times people sit on, you know, these ideas that they have or information that they have because they don't realize how beneficial that information is. You know, sometimes people belittle the information that they have, the knowledge that they have, because it's so common to them that they don't realize that it's not common to everyone, and that someone else could really use those steps, the information necessary to do whatever it is that you've accomplished, and make it a lot easier for them, so that they don't have to go through some of the barriers that you had to encounter.
Some good advice and information. And in 30 seconds, just remind people of, we'll put the flyer up, but the event, when it is, where it is, and how people can take part.
The event is this coming Saturday, March the 23rd. And it is from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Rise Chattanooga, 2901 Taylor Street.
Okay, and we're inviting everyone out this weekend to take part in that. Thank you both so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. You're welcome.
Thank you
Glad
very
to
much.
see you all.
All right.
Thank you.